Right, so that's all of my little bits there. Cool. Why's it got to be the spikiest one that fell out? A really cool thing about holly is that it actually only grows spikes where it thinks it needs protection. So near the top of the plant, the leaves actually tend to be quite rounded. So this one's actually only got one little spike on it. So this leaf here hasn't got any spikes on it. And that was a little bit further up the tree. It's cool, isn't it? Right, I've got my wreath that I made for Samhain that I'm just going to repurpose for my Christmas wreath. And I'm just going to take off these little mid structures here. So today I'm going to be making a little wreath for my greenhouse door, and this is made out of my grapevine from my greenhouse. So I've got a grapevine that runs all the way along the top of here, and in late summer I trimmed it all and then weed them into these little wreaths. I made maybe about 4 or 5 of different sizes, and yeah, let these dry out, and then now I can use them for my Christmas wreaths. I think I'm going to make this one for my greenhouse door today, and then I've got a couple more that I'm going to take home, and me and Chris are going to make one each. So I think I'm probably going to make the base of my wreath out of all of this privet, just to give it a little bit more strength, and also because I've got quite a lot of it and I think it'll bulk it out quite nicely. So what I'm going to be doing is literally just weaving this in and through and around. So I'll find a little spot down here to poke it into, and then I'll keep it held in and then twist it through and around. And the best thing about these grapevine wreaths is they've got lots of little holes, so they're perfect for just weaving plants in and popping them through, and you don't really need much string for this first bit, which is quite nice. And so I'm just tucking these little bits through other vines. It's all just self-weaved through, and the more you put in, the more structure it'll have. So you just keep going and keep going. Right, I'm pretty happy with that as a first base. It's pretty solid. and now I need to decide what to put on next. And I've got quite a good selection. I managed to get some ivy with some little berries, a few hogweed seeds, they look like little firework heads, don't they? Some hawthorn berries, also some ivy without berries. I collected some larch cones from my larch tree, some elecampane seed heads, some scabious seed heads, and some mugwort, flowering mugwort as well, and also a big batch of holly. So, should we make this a nice traditional holly wreath? Might be quite nice, eh? I don't know actually. Yeah, maybe I'll put a bit of holly in. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'll make it flowery, like mugwort spilling out of it. So what are we thinking? Kind of spilling out the side like this? I'm liking it, I'm liking it. I think I want to try and go for a bit of a fluffy, kind of whimsical kind of wreath. Or maybe I'll do a traditional one from my front door at home. The best thing about a foraged wreath is you never know what you're going to end up with. You can have a kind of idea in your head, but ultimately it depends on what plants you find, how they fit together. So this has been a tradition of mine ever since I left home at 17 and it was a bit of a rebel against all of the Christmas decorations my mum used to have, you know, the proper 90s ones or the 80s ones probably, the foil hanging ceiling decorations, loads of tinsel everywhere. That year for Christmas I went foraging for my first decorations and I had an all natural Christmas, and ever since that's what I've been doing. 36 now, so that will be coming up to 20 years of doing that. I want to bend these in. You can kind of shape these brooms as well, they're kind of semi-malleable. Just give them a little bit of a bend, break the fibres up inside. So I've got a nice big basket of ivy that I collected, and I was really lucky to find this because it had grown up a tree stump and then it just sprawled all the way out, so I just stood under it and harvested it like that, and it was so easy and it was really clean as well. So again, I'm just going to be popping this through and just weaving it through all the little branches. Start off with the end there just to tuck it all securely, and then I can start winding. I think I'm going to do it, let me move this so you can see. I think I'm going to do it kind of up and through the broom so you can kind of still see it splaying out, but it will also hold a little bit more structure into it as well. So I'm just going to weave it in and out the broom just so it doesn't keep it taut. And I cut these nice and long as well, so I could wrap it round really well. I was going to take you with me for the forage and show you all of the different plants I was collecting, but to be honest, my hands were so cold that I couldn't take off my gloves to film. It's about 1 degree outside, I think, and all of the ground is really frosty, and it is beautiful out there, but it's freezing, so that's why I'm hiding in the greenhouse today. I've got the fire on out in the brick house just next door, and I keep going in there to thaw out every time I get cold, and that's what this little candle is as well, so I can just heat up my hands and thaw them out a little bit in between. So I think what I might do actually is wrap these round each other and then wrap them through. The only thing is it's harder to find a little entrance spot for 3 vines than it is for 1 vine. So if you think a lot of the vines are on show at the moment, I will be covering that up with the flowers, so it's not a problem. I've finished putting all of the ivy on this now, and I weaved the ivy just around the base of the wreath, and I've also popped in some little ivy with berries on as well, so I've got some little clusters of ivy berries, and I think it's looking very cute. I think now all I need to do is start adding a little bit more fluff, so I'm thinking a little bit of mugwort coming out of here, maybe a few little pine cones. I'm going to keep it fairly simple. I think it already looks really cute, and it's going to go this way on my door. Right, I think I'm about done with this. Just finished putting the final touches on. I've popped on a few pine cones, the mugwort, and also a few little hogweed seed heads as well. And I'm pretty happy with it. I think it looks cute. I think now I'm going to hang this on my front door of the greenhouse. I'm just going to have a cup of tea and a cookie to warm my hands up, and then I'm going to get a bit of jute ribbon on this and string it up on the front of my greenhouse. But yeah, I am pretty stoked with that. What do you think?